Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Testing. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Testing. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. Alright, so I almost gave up and started using Flexalon, and I was so excited about Flexalon, but I think this procedural system is just going to be more flexible. I ran into a lot of edge cases where it would adjust the sizes of things no matter what I did, and then I worked on a few adapters for it, and this is just going to be much simpler and easier to learn, the procedural system. So I think my base component, see, I had it as builder base, but I think I'm just going to call it layout op base. So first I'm going to rename that, and I got some of the IDE problems fixed, but I think I'm doing manual renames still. So layout base would be we'll just call it layout op. We won't even call it base, just layout op. And then, so that means we need to rename everything that uses that. So this would be layout op. Spacing, do we have it in here? Get all children, this dot transform range and row. Okay. Destroy children is also a layout op. And execute layout is a layout op. We got layout op. Op. I wonder if I do zoom it, or zoom it, I want to be able to do this where you guys can see. It's hard to see like exactly where I'm typing because of the IDE, but I know I have zoom it. There we go. Zoom it. And we will close this. Zoom it. Zoom. How does that work? Okay. Options. Zoom toggle is control 1, animate zoom in and out, smooth range, specify initial level of application, show tray icon, live zoom. Live zoom mode is supported on Windows 7 and higher, where Windows updates shows while zoom. Note that in live zoom. So it's control 4 for live zoom. Okay. Try control 4. So then, can I move around? Doesn't look like it. Not sure how that's supposed to. Oh, there we go. Nice. Nice. Okay, we got live zoom. That's good. So we got layout op here. That's renamed. Builder and buildables. Oh, I'll bet if we go over here. Let's layout op. Nope, that's not where I want to be. Layout base. Execute layout. And we got, alright, so that's renamed properly. Layout base needs to be renamed to F2. Layout op. Now our spawner as well. Spawner would be layout up. So these are prefabs. Keep me focused. How about destroyed children? I think I got everything. Normally you just press F2 and rename, but this is actually keeping me familiar with the code anyway. So now, there we go. Open scene. See, I was trying Flexalon out, and it's very nice, but open recent scene. No development scene. Save. I kind of like this zoom thing though. So I'm just using Zoom It, and then for broadcast I'm using OBS. Alright. Flexalon alert, constraint, exercise. Alright, let's get rid of Flexalon here. Flexalon. I almost did a whole plug on them. I was so excited about Flexalon. I just ran into several edge cases that were like, this is going to take longer. It'll be quicker just to write my own stuff. Okay. Now, I'm going to go down to project and prefabs. Layout prefabs. Got arts cone cube. Node input. Node prefab. Updater test. I think that's what we were working with for the example. Bear with me. So we got our updater. So this game object has execute layout script. Let's see which ops. We should rename those to ops. Destroy children, spawn, and arrange row. So our arrange row direction should be trying to get this out of the way of where my, so I want direction of X. I'm just making sure this works. And then we created custom context menu option. Now let's see what we got. Oh. Debug, buildables, spawner. Oh, we're missing the prefab on the spawner. So let's go here. TMP prefab, I guess we'll use. And once again, choose our context menu function, and we should be the positive X. Where is our TMP text? So we should have a TMP text showing. I think that is not the right prefab. Let's just make a basic TMP prefab. So we'll go to the main scene right click, go to 3D object, text mesh pro. That's fine. And then we just drag it down to prefabs. And I'm going to get rid of the other one. Let's get out of zoom mode for a second. How can I do that? Probably Control 4, huh? Control 4. Nope. My touch screen doesn't work when I'm in zoom mode. So, exit. There we go. Alright, now you can see the whole screen as far as the editor. We have our TMP text. Let's get rid of this one. Delete. Oh, it's recompiling. Wow, it recompiles. Let's zoom it again. Zoom it. And I think I'll just use paint to explain like ideas and such. So, normally a layout system is totally hierarchical. This would be hierarchy. And we have things like this, and then and you'd go depth first to execute. So say you have game objects under here, they all have layout stuff. You would execute these, and then this one, this one, this one, this one, and then this one, which will have that, but that will be an explicit layout op. But it won't matter where we put the layout op component because we'll always specify a target. So, we got like layout op source target, etc. And I was just passing time because while it's compiling, we cannot use the editor. Hey, look at that. We didn't make any mistakes. Alright, we can delete that from the main scene, the TMP text. TMP text is just a 3D text component. It's like it's hard to get bounds on it. So what I did was I used the actual glyph vertices to get exact bounds. So with any luck, it still works because I don't remember touching it. So let's go to updater test, and for our spawner, we'll put the text here, or the TMP text, right? And then execute, build. Oh wait, we don't want it like that though. Let's go this way. Delete. We're going to test it within the prefab. So if you open prefab, that's like a separate scene for the prefab. And there we go. If you look, our text is aligned. It's hard to see, but oh, that's why. Sample text. So it's aligned by the top. Let's make it a little bigger so it's easier to see. So let's go into the text prefab with height. font size, I don't know, 100. And now if we go to update or test and execute, build. Oh, yeah, it's still aligned by the top. It has wrap. It looks like it's working. I still don't like the size of it. Another thing that we can do is remove destroy children and spawner and just use what's in the layout. So let's do that. Yeah, remove and remove. Now I can just modify the text as it is. So let's go to 20, 30, 20. And eventually we'll have an auto update when, like, on the change, when it changes the text size or whatever. That might be a component too, where you just say you have a component like that just registers for transform change and runs one of the functions, one of the executors, like maybe a list. Okay, so text, we want the size of the TMP, maybe, let's do 30, no, 20. And now we can go to here and build. Oh, we're missing ops, so we're gonna go, let's delete them and make this the one op. Build. Interesting. So it did not adjust the position of our TMP. Why is that? What if yeah, it should adjust it. So we are on arrange row, spacing is 0.2, direction is X. We have an anchor. So the anchor should be at the top. The top is correct. Build. That did not work. So the question is, are we getting proper bounds? And I'm pretty sure we are. So let me check something. So like if we just keep adding text. Hopefully it's not going with the rectangle transform. It should have installed a smart bounds, right? Right. We have no proxy target. This is my own bounds system. If it sees a text mesh pro, it should get the right bounds. I mean, it has been. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Updater test. Arrange row operates on children. Build. Hold on. Is that correct? Let's get orthogonal view. That's incorrect as well. Now it's really incorrect because it's above our sample. So we're going to need to get... I know it works though. So let's do this. Let's add back the spawner and everything else. Just to see if that has something to do with it. That would be weird if it had something to do with it, but who knows? Alright. We can just delete these. This is helping me stay focused anyway. Maybe I'll gain an audience that likes to give advice. Okay. So let's put these out of the. Actually, yeah. So keep on doing, undoing, undo, 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 undo. Where are we at now? Oh, almost there. Alright. And let's give it a shot. Build. Let's try deleting these. Actually, that looks correct. No, it does not. Hard to tell. Let's go. We want to modify the prefab because it's destroying and respawning. I just want to see, like, this has worked for me. It was working before. So what have I done that would cause it to malfunction? Malfunction, dude. Updater test. Alright. And we have, oh, double click. Double click. Boom. Okay, that's correct. So let's try something different. Let's go back to our TMP, double click. I gotta be fast. Touchscreen is hard, touchy with the double click. Double click. Let's change the text, so make it longer or something, just in case that was lucky. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And save. Go back. Go to updater test. Updater test. Build. Alright, that's correct. So sometimes the editor gets hung. Yep. Now, what I'm curious about is if I first destroy these, somehow it gets clogged or something. I go to updater test, and then I remove, this, because we definitely want it to up. Like, we don't want to have to spawn. Most of the time, we're not going to be spawning things, except for like in special cases. So this was just as a helper. So remove those. Oh. Remove, and we'll just we'll like put these things in there manually. So arch, cone, cube, text, and then go to our updater test. Oh, hey, maybe that's what I had done. Probably not. Updater test. Build. There it is. Okay. Oh, very nice. Hahaha. That's actually pretty hard to get proper balance on a TextMesh Pro because it works a lot. It works differently. Normally you get like it's arbitrary. So let's try center. So let's test if we got center bounds. So those are aligned by the top, and clearly there's a line across the top, and So let me use zoom because I think my image is in front of arrange row. So um, zoom it is closed again. Zoom it. Still learning how to make these tutorials. There we go. We want zoom. Are we on live zoom? Yes. I think, oh, let's check. How can I check if that's above my image? Probably cannot. Let's just get an idea here. I am less than a third of the way up. So, and when we do the zoom, that's more than a third. So, here you can see the anchor. Okay, I want live zoom. Give me live zoom. So I changed this to 0.5. Wait, that doesn't matter because we have aligned to X, but I'll change this to 0.5. That should be all that's required. Hey, let me out of zoom. Let me out. Control 4. Control 2. Control 1. Now I'm stuck in zoom mode. Enter. Escape. That's the bottom. Draw a bunch of lines. Oh, I guess you double tap escape. Alright, so if I put Y at 0.5, so that's, I set Y, I know my face is right in front of where I'm trying to work right here. It's like, it's down here. Actually, you know what I can do is I can put this above the spawner. Oh, come on. There we go. And now let's do execute layout. And build. Is it centered? It appears to be centered. Yeah, because if you look at the bottom part, what if we put it in all block letters? I think that might be easier to see. So if I go to my TMP text, prefab. Oh wait, I don't need to change the prefab because we're not spawning. I think we can do text style. Hopefully they still have all caps. I like the all caps. Font size, auto size, vertex color, spacing, alignment. Well, that's interesting. Oh, there we go. So we got A, B. Okay. Now let's try refreshing it. And it should be more centered on our targets. Because our Y anchor is at 0.5. Built. This is in editor. So again, my suspicion here is that it is not refreshing properly. What can we do about that? Destroy children, arrange row, spawner. Let's try this again. So in our execute layout, we only have one builder arrange row. So it should go through each child item and arrange, set the anchor and move it so that it's centered in this case. And it looks like it did it properly on the, use this, on these three, but it did not do it properly on this one. call it once more. Let's try like save scene first or something. Build. Nope. Let's try deleting them all. Adding them again. We will not be, ultimately this is for VR, not the editor, like runtime VR. But meanwhile, I just want to make sure all of this works before I keep moving, because that would be a bug to fix if it's really not working, but pretty strange bug. There we go. Now, updater test. Destroyed children. No. Execute layout. Build. There it is. That looks much more centered. And, I forgot to change the prefab to all caps though to make sure. It's definitely centered though. Like if you look at the bottom of the P, that looks correct. But if I go to, but if I just change it here, now, so now that it's there, if I change the text, or if I change the style, right, to, you know what it is? I think it's once my smart bounds gets the bounds, I haven't set it to where it updates. Pretty sure that's what it is. But first, let's test this. So yeah, it's centered. So it definitely centers. Let's try a refresh. But I'll bet when we refresh it, it changes it. I don't know. Yeah, it's an optical illusion that it's not centered. Build. Yeah. I think that's correct. It is. Definitely correct. Alright, so that's good. Let's try something else. It thinks it knows where the bounds is. What if we move it? Moving it like that's not going to work. Let's change the size of it. Let's make sure our bounds is actually updating, because that could be a point of confusion later. Let's make it like, I don't know, 10. There we go. So size is 10. Now that should definitely move if we update, unless it's storing the bounds once and then forgetting about it and not updating. Execute layout. Build. That's what it is. Yep. Okay, so let's go to smart bounds. Where is that script? I think we're pretty close. Smart bounds. So, first it checks if bounds object is null. And I think this is where the problem is, because now, okay, we can just follow that down, right? Follow the solid line. And then return bounds object switch. If it's a mesh filter, we want mesh filter to share bounds. Mesh collider dot shared mesh dot bounds. Skin mesh render dot shared mesh dot bounds. In the case of a TMP, I remember I just made it a bounds object itself. So it just so it returns B. That's not what we want. That is not what we want. So if try get component TMP text, we would want to return try get glyph local bounds. We need to refactor this though, because that does not return for us a value. And if I remember right, we cannot, like, we can only have one statement in this return statement thing. Let's try. So if we went like that, yeah, already it's giving us an error. What if I just said return B? Nope. What if I said B? It simply does not like that. So instead of a total refactor, while we're doing this, I would just say, I'll just make a helper function that says void bounds get TMP bounds, and fine. Okay, so have we added our TMP component? So bounds object equals null, try to get component TMP text. Then we just set bounds object to TMP text, right? And our function is going to use this. A little bit. So let's go down to get TMP bounds. Oh, it's not a void, it's private. But we don't even have to do that, we just call it bounds, get TMP bounds. TMP bounds utility, try to get glyph local bounds, outvar B and DS. So this is our return value, because it's outvar bounds object, new bounds, right, dot setter. So that's if not, and then if so, we will return B and DS. And I don't even think we need that, because we've already checked if there's a TMP text there. So let's just leave it like that, just to make sure it's working. I'm going to refactor this. I don't like the way this my smart bounds exactly is set up. I just kind of threw it together and adjusted, like, what do you call it? What do you call it when you pile up changes? Not Easter egging. Alright, so that should be good enough. So if it's, let's see, outvar TMP, then we just say bounds object equals TMP. The rest of them, I think, adjust with size, because they're actually going to shared mesh.bounds. So if it's a TMP text, then we want to return get TMP bounds. That should be good. This is really awful code. Should not be working like this. But it does stash the bounds object, so at least you don't have to go through all these options every time you want to try to establish the bounds. So maybe this is the proper way to do it. That was what I could come up with. Alright, so that should work. So let's recompile it. We should have errors. I mean, that's expected. Anytime you write code, you expect to have errors. That's why I think error messages should be in orange. Like, help. They're like help messages. They shouldn't even call them error messages. Just call them help. Like if it's a compiler error, why do they call it an error message? If the compiler can see it, how is it an error? The compiler can just see, hey, this. That's what its whole job is, to give you these helpful error messages. Okay, so the name TMP does not exist in the current context on Smart Bounds 101.53. So 101.53. Bounds. Right. We just say bounds object. Yeah, we could just pass in a TMP text. TMP. And since we know that it's a TMP text, we can just pass in bounds object. There we go. That should work. Refresh. Argument 1 cannot convert from object to TMP pro TMP text. So we need to say as TMP text. So bounds object as TMP text. Very explicit, C# is. Okay, right. Unity refresh. Cannot convert. Oh, okay. Reloading domain. So the idea here is that it adjusts dynamically. What do you guys want me to draw? Need eraser. Size. Can I just go all and delete? Yeah, we do that. What could I draw? Hey, can I do two-handed drawing on this? No, I can't. I almost want to make a special app so you can do two-handed drawing properly. Alright. Two-handed drawing circles. That is awful. Concentric circles. Okay. Rightio. Now, provided things haven't gone stale, it should update properly. Build. There it is. Perfectly centered now. Now we don't have to be like, I think that's an optical illusion. Okay. That makes me very happy. The next thing we want to do is, this is for user interfaces, right? So, like, in almost every case, you want a background with, like, a border. It's like a special case. So, it's special enough to have, like, its own function, but we'll make it more generic. We'll call it encapsulate bounds, I think is the idea. And first, we'll just use, so that there's no scaling issues, our background won't be in the parent component. It will be one of the children. And in fact, our row, so this, let's do this. Our row will have to be further down the hierarchy. So we'll call it row, right? And then we're going to move these to row. Right there. And before we do this, in our arrange row, we'll make it so that we can specify a parent, and our parent will be row. And then we'll add a sibling to row called background. That way, because row is just going to take into account all children, which makes it really convenient. So I want to keep it that way. Otherwise, we have to make a list of children and then add it to a list. Okay. So where are those scripts at? I prepare all this stuff in advance, but this is just, I mean, it's for my practice, and it keeps me, when I'm figuring this stuff out, it gets me moving really fast. Okay, so range row, and then we're going to specify a public transform with a capital T, transform parent. Okay, and then on awake, so awake is called when you first instantiate something, and that's either in the editor or in the in game, and it gets called on the same frame immediately. So it's kind of like the constructor in a way, but there's no arguments passed into it. So if you instantiate something and set these variables afterwards, awake was already called before you set those variables, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. We could test it. I'm trying to think of a way we could test that. Let's not worry about that right now. That's what I think I had figured out before. So on awake, if if parent equals null, then equals null, then parent equals transform dot parent. In fact, I'm going to call it row parent. So I think we can rename that already. So F2 should work on that, something that simple. Row parent. There we go. We have some functionality there. Row parent, if row parent equals null, row parent equals this transform, so whatever transform the arrange row component is on, transform dot parent. And then item equals get all children, and instead of this dot transform, which it could be this transform, it's gonna be, oh wait, we would not want it transform dot parent, we want it transform, this dot transform. In fact, to be really explicit, we'll call it this dot transform. Get all children and row parent. That should still work. But let's test that to make sure it still works before we work on our encapsulate bounds. Ultimately, what I'd like to do what I'd like to do here, size, is for for any background, right? So say it had, so you have vertices, and say it had corners like this. I'd like to be able to say, specify a margin. So when it resizes the thing that we want to use as our background, I'd like to be able to set the margins so that it doesn't stretch anything that's not in between the margins. So it leaves the corners intact, and it just stretches this way and this way. But that will be, I think that will be in the second revision. Yeah, but that's ideal, and that would be really handy for a layout system, because when you're in VR, precision looks really good, really good, and then any amount of imprecision looks awful. It's intensified, man. Okay, let's make sure that still works. So in our updater test, in our arrange row, we can just specify row parent as this. Row parent. Now when I execute layout, let's make sure it's working. So we'll move that, so it has to move it back. Okay. So execute layout. Bam. That still works. And now we specified the parent. And now, so for the thing that we want to encapsulate the bounds with, which right now it's just arbitrary stuff in there, but it will be clickables and things like this, text fields, enum, like drop-down menus and things. But right now we're just creating the background for it. And so what I would do is we'll make it real easy. We want to do a 3D object for now. Okay, so cube. We're just going to make it a cube. And our cube, I think I want it black. So I want a black cube. Materials. Materials. Oh, I can't see. I can't see. There we go. We got black crew. That way there's a contrast. And we need to create man, I really prefer the touch screen. I like it because I can switch hands and it keeps my back good. Okay, so we got encapsulate bounds.cs and using, oh, here's where I could use zoom to help out. Zoom. Oh wait, we need dynamic zoom. Zoom. Options. And zoom it. Live zoom. So live zoom is control 4. So control 4. There we go. So we want using Unity Engine and it's encapsulate bounds. So I'm trying to think what else we would need. We're already in namespace DLN and public class. Encapsulate bounds extends layout op. It's a layout op, and therefore it must implement public override. So override is just void execute. And needs a target. So the first thing we want is public transform target. Encapsulate bounds. So we need a target there. We really want to throw an error if the target is null. So when you go to execute, target should not be null. So we say if target equals null, debug.log error, and we'll do this proper. Target should not be, show you what I'm doing, null in this .name. That should help a little bit. And hey, why did I do that? There we go. So we're going to say var bounds equals, and I have an extension function called toLocalBounds equals target dot toLocalBounds. And what we're going to do, we're going to add borders to it. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 margin references. And rather than going like front, back, we'll just do explicitly positive and negative x, y. Okay, so, and each is a float, so we go, I think it's more logical to have target at the top there. And in fact, if we want to make it really simple, we could say public vector 3 min margins equals equals vector 3 dot 0, and then public vector 3 max margins equals vector 3 dot we'll make that 0 as well. So once we get the bounds, and we can't have it a capital B because that's the type. We can call it var, like the reason we can use var is toLocalBounds explicitly returns a bounds, so that is easy for the compiler to infer. So bounds, and then what we want to do is expand min-max. New min-max? I looked it up, so let's go look it up again. I think I have it. I looked it up earlier. Expand bounds. See, I'm still using ChatGPT. Alright, so if we set min-max, max plus equals, alright, so we could just add that to, that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like typing it anyway. Why do I want to type it anyway? Just to, it's easy to make, cut and paste still, like, it still stands that when you're doing the code yourself, cut and paste is not always your friend. I lost my place though. So we would say var min equals bounds dot min, var max equals bounds dot max, and then min plus equals min margins max plus equals max margins. And I'm not doing like the difference between patterns and borders right now. I would think that this would be borders because, like, I don't know, however we want to call it, that's how we're going to do it. And then we would say, see this zoom thing, like, I would say bounds dot set min max to min and max, as we have named it. Now for the tricky part. In this version, we're just going to set the size of the thing by scaling, right? So we have the bounds of the target, local bounds, min max. What I really want to do alright, how about this? We say var target size. So we want to grab this before we change the before we expand it, right? So target size equals bounds dot size. Right. Now we want the ratio of each one. So min max. Target size is actually the size of the target. How about we say size of target? Because it gets confusing. Size of target, right? And then the bounds thing would be called bounds of target, new bounds. Well, it'll have to be confusing. So bounds equals set min max. And that's going to be our target bounds. And the way that I always do this is to get the scale factor. Like if something is 5 times, if you want to scale something to 1 and it's size 5, so say the size is 1 and you want to scale it to 5, you would set the scale to 5 over 1. So that's how I always remember it. And then the logic works backward too. So if it was at 5, say the size was 5 and you wanted size 1, then you would scale it to 1 over 5. Either way, you want the target size, like the size that you want, over the size that it is. And that's your scale factor. So what I could do is say var desired size of target and expanded size, kind of long. Expanded size, target size, desired size. Long is better. It's better to be long and clear than short and confused. So desired size equals now bounds dot size, and now it's updated, right, to include our borders. And then we would say var y factor x scale equals desired size over desired size dot x over size dot x for y scale equals desired size dot y over size dot y, and then z scale equals desired size dot z over size dot z, and then so this is my least favorite way of doing things, is setting the scale, just in case like it's parenting something and then you stretch it, but for now it should work really well. So target dot local scale equals new vector 3, and we got x scale, y scale, z scale. And then the last thing we want to do is we need 2 anchor moves. But first, let's just make sure it's resizing right. You never know, man. And once it's resized right, since it's encapsulate, we want it to center on the target. And I lost my place again. Exit. Exit zoom. Help me out. Exit zoom. Alright, let's go back to... Oh, that's how you exit zoom. Oh, control 4, right? Control and 4. Control 4. Yes. So in our update or test, we will say, we'll add a component. Wait, have we properly refreshed it? I need water. We'll test this, then we'll take a break. It's gonna be a long video series. What I'll probably do is maybe redo the tutorial series, or no one will watch it, and I will have worked way faster than I would if I was not, not being filmed. Okay. The name size does not exist in the current context. Yep, that'll do it. So it does not see size. Oh, wait, which line was it? The line for this was 26 on encapsulate pounds. 26. Desired size dot z and then size of target, and that's right. Size of target. Size of targets. I'm doing my best, man. Losers always whine about their best. Bounds is not contained a definition for size, no accessible extension. I beg to differ. Size? I think it might be capital, or it might not. Either way, we may have to find it. Actually, what did ChatGPT say? See, normally the IDE, I mean, without even AI, the IDE will give you, like, you press dot and it shows you everything that should be under that. So then it's a lot easier to find. So we'll just try that first and see what happens. And that was on line 22. Oh, bounds question mark does not contain a definition for size. That's different. That is different. Size. So I was right about that. So what it is bounds question mark is it's boxed into like a nullable. It's got a nullable wrapper around it. So it should be, so bounds should be target to local bounds dot value. And I think value is a property and not a function. That should fix that right there. Now I'm talking phony. Oh, it's compiling. I really would like... Does this make it thicker? Oh yeah, much thicker. I like the thicker stuff. Alright, compiled. So now when we go to update or test, we should add component encapsulate bounds. I mean, Flexalon's pretty cool. Like, some of their interactions are really cool. So, I'm not knocking. In fact, like, I wouldn't even have known really how to do this layout system if I hadn't, like, used Flexalon for a little bit and then looked at my own needs and said, okay, for my own needs, what would be the simplest way to do this? So our target for encapsulate bounds, see, we can specify arbitrary target, or we could just put it in a prefab and set the target to prefab, because we'll have a recursive layout ops executor thingamabob. So where's that cube? So this should resize the cube, but I don't think it's going to be centered on the target. We just want to make sure it's resizing it properly. So let's go to update or test. We got target set, right? Okay, good. And right, so we only have 2 elements in our executables. We're calling them buildables, but we'll rename that. And then encapsulate bounds. All right there. And so now this should work if we go build. Right? Let's make sure. Build. I think that, how would we do that? We specified this as a target, right? Or did we not? So if we go to encapsulate bounds, we specified the cube as the target. Let's go back to here. Target.local scale equals new vector 3. Transform target. And alright, so we got bounds. Size of target equals bounds.size. Correct. Min equals bounds.min. Max equals bounds.max. Min plus equals min bounds. Max plus equals max margins. So we got bounds.setMin max. And then we got desired size equals bounds.size. That's correct, except it's not correct. Because not only do we have a target, we have the things that we're encapsulating it with. Let's rename this to thing to encapsulate. Some people use like source and target. I think that's confusing in cases like this. And then public transform encapsulating mesh game object. Better than nothing, man. Okay, so we have the thing to encapsulate. So we get the size of the things to encapsulate, right? And then we get the size of the encapsulating game object. So we get the thing to encapsulate. We expand the borders. We get the size of that. Then we get the current size of the encapsulating game object, and that's what we would want to change the local scale to some proportion of that. Right. Okay. So I'm going to take a break though. I need water.